free ult charge from another free kill. It's a game about ultimates. The best thing you can do is to jump off the map and kill yourself in a situation where you're going to lose like that.
Now here's why I brought in the specialist.
A Lucio player. So right off the bat, we're amping speed when our Tracer needs heals. Alright, you did switch. That's good. Kind of. Alright, so the unfortunate thing about Lucio in this situation... Oh, hang on, let's pause real quick.
Sure.
This is going to take a second. I think we're solo healing with Lucio. So right off the bat, the first thing you need to do is every time a Lucio player dies, their first instinct is to throw on speed, amp it up out of spawn, and get back to their team as quickly as possible. Sometimes, not the best idea. This time was not a good idea because in this scenario, you had a Roadhog, a D.Va, and a Tracer who were all critical health. You wasted amp getting out of spawn to try to get there. Lucio does, I think, 17 healing per second without amp, and does like 48 healing per second with amp. So, and that's 3 seconds of healing, so that's a free 150 HP, and honestly, probably a solid like 20-25 ult charge off of 1 amp. That instead of using to heal up your team, you use to get to your team. But the thing about Lucio is passive healing, unless you have like an Ana or a primary healer of some kind, is kind of useless. So like a lot of your benefit is going to come from speeding. Honestly, Lucio's in general not a great choice here unless you're going to just try to frag out.
What would you say is, for someone who wanted to learn Lucio, what do you think is the biggest tip, trick, or thing they should learn if they were going to play Lucio more regularly?
My number one tip, especially for a console Lucio, would be to learn how to wall ride.
Why?
So here's the thing. Wall riding, so for example, to get out of spawn there, you use speed boost to get back to your team. If you knew how to wall ride, you wouldn't even have to use speed boost. You'd get there just as fast, maybe like a millisecond slower. And on top of that, you'd still have amp. So you'd get there as fast as if you were to amp while on the ground. You'd get the extra 20-25 ult charge and the free healing off of all of your teammates. Then you would be able to speed your team into the next fight. The other thing about being able to wall ride is, especially on console, it makes you borderline impossible to hit. You can abuse wall riding on console. And if there was one tip I could give you, it would be to just go into custom games, make a custom game mode where you have amp it up at like the lowest cooldown it can go, and just practice wall riding on every map. I've done this for hours and hours and hours on every map. I've easily got over 20 hours practicing wall riding on different maps. And
on each map, 20 hours.
No, I don't know about each map 20 hours, but I could. It's got each map.
At least a couple hours for each map.
Each map has at least 2 hours minimum.
Okay.
No doubt about it.
And that's after you already learned how to wall ride.
Yeah, I still sometimes when I'm bored will just go into a custom game and just wall ride around. There's a million, you can learn how to get enemies off of high ground. You can learn how to just be an annoyance. The thing is too with Lucio's increased radius now is you can wall ride up at high points of the map and be still healing or speed boosting your whole team, and at the same time, the enemy team is either trying to shoot at an elusive Lucio and not shooting at the rest of your team, or you're just getting free damage and free ult charge. So wall riding is so incredibly important, especially to a console Lucio, and I really recommend you try to learn how to do it. There's tons and tons of resources online to figure out how to do this. Jamie Allegro is an old Lucio YouTuber who explained a lot of the basics of Lucio's wall ride and has a ton of wall riding guides. You can watch you can watch DSP Stanky play. He wall rode all the time. SK is great at wall riding. Or if you want to use Reddit as a resource, there's tons of guides and people who are willing to help you or even teach you on the subreddit Lucio rollouts or Lucio mains. And I really recommend figuring that out because wall riding will make a world of difference in your Lucio play.
I 110% agree with all that, and I think that's honestly super helpful. So, especially console is a lot harder to aim on, coming from console and playing at the highest level. From console coming to PC,
So
Lucios
here,
who could do that was awful.
Can we go into? Can I show him the difference real quick, like between?
Sure.
I'll load up Rialto and show the difference. And get to point without amp by.
This might have to be a two-parter.
Yeah, for real. All right, yeah. Let me show lobby. Settings, presets, no. Maps, none. Since we're on Rialto, we'll just use Rialto. Rialto's a difficult map to roll out on, but we'll give it a go real quick.
I actually cannot wall ride like that.
I will protect the innocent.
So just go to the spawn that he's at.
Well, he's like right here, isn't he?
Well, yeah, but he keeps. What I'm saying is he's amping out of this spawn over here, and it would make his life a hell of a lot easier if he didn't use amp, because he'd get there quickly and then not have to use amp and still be able to heal. So I don't have this wall to ride on because the doors aren't open, but you can easily, like, just as quickly, if not faster, get around the map just wall riding around. Like, especially with new Lucio, you don't even need to worry about finding different walls to ride on. Like, you can speed around at the speed of light, and you can do this on console. It's more difficult, but I used to be an Xbox player, and I did it all the time. I really recommend figuring out wall riding. It'll make a world of difference in your Lucio play.
See, with like how fast he's going along these walls and stuff, even if I was trying to like line up a shot here, I'd have to predict where he's going. Gotta cut that from the video.
Yeah.
If I'm trying to like line up how to shoot him and stuff, I'd have to predict where he's going, and especially in a gold level, people don't know how to predict almost at all. That's why there's not really a lot of hits or projectile players. And if there's a projectile player, it's like a Hanzo who's literally just doing this if the windows are people, and he's hoping that he's gonna hit it. Like, and eventually, even a blind squirrel eventually finds a nut. But I mean, like, that doesn't mean he knows what he's doing or he doesn't know how to predict. Like, if he's gonna come along here, it's the only way I'll have a chance of hitting him. If you're able to move like this, like he's moving right now, that will improve your play 100 times. I believe,
yeah,
at least.
I definitely recommend trying to learn wall riding. All right, we can go.
Okay. So I'm back in it. Ready?
Yep.
Okay.
I don't know if you're a Lucio main or if you just like you've played pretty much every support at this point except Zen, I think. So.
Played Zen and Spawn.
Did he say what he mains?
No, he's support main.
Okay. That's unlucky. That was savable if you were better at wall riding, but that is unlucky. I mean, sometimes you just get bullshitted like that, and that'll happen.
So that sucks. That sucks.
Especially because you never expect that from Brigitte. Like, you never expect to get beat that far, but it happens.
Do you want to give up some of your secrets here or nah? I understand if you say no.
I don't want to.
Yeah, we won't give up
all the time. It's not about the secrets as much as
I want to see what he does here.
Yeah, I'm not looking to teach the guy how to feed.
Yeah,
I'd rather him just, you know. So that's unlucky. I don't know why your Reaper's up there. Your Ryan needs to keep that fucking shield up. There's no reason for him to be dropping that shield.
Other than trying to build ult charge, but he's fire striking at nothing.
Okay. So this is good. You tried to peel for your Reinhardt and boop some people off of him. That's a free boop if you could have turned a little faster. You might maybe...
You might be playing a little low of a sensitivity.
Yeah.
Even for console, this seems a little low.
I don't know what your console sensitivity is. I used to play... Oh god, I don't know if I remember my console sensitivity.
Our numbers were a lot different than they are now.
Yeah.
I think because we were in like the 20s, I think. And that was low.
I don't remember. I used to fuck with my sensitivity all the time. Honestly, I can't...
The biggest
exactly
takeaway I would say from that is you can clearly see... Or should not. You can see how low your sensitivity is, and it really hurts you here. Yeah. So maybe consider turning up a tiny bit, especially with support.
One other thing in terms of wall riding that might make it a little easier for you.
That was so free. That hurts me.
So close. The other thing about wall riding is you can change your control scheme. I don't know what I'm assuming you're using space to jump. I recommend using
he's on
right mouse click or
controller.
something like that.
He's on controller.
Oh yeah, right. I keep forgetting. So yeah, but even still, so what I used to do for mouse or for jumping on Xbox was I used right mouse button or right bumper, which is R1 on PlayStation.
Yes, on PlayStation,
and
yeah.
And,
Ooh, there's a
that
little
makes it
wall
easy.
ride. There's a little wall ride.
Yeah,
in
there you go. There you go.
Someone better get a fire ring because I want to roll.
There you go. So you understand. It looks like you know how to
The basics.
late jump. I think it is. Yeah, I think it looks like you know how to wall skim, and you just need some practice for it. That was good. So the thing right here that's great about about the enemy team more is almost everyone on the enemy team is boopable, and that Winston just jumped onto the bridge. These are easy boops. Like if you were going for any kind of flanks, or I mean, I don't want you to feed your brains out or anything, but like you can wall ride between the buildings on the river. It was a great use of amp, or you could even use amp here instead of healing to speed boost out and boop 3 people off bridge. It's easy. The only person you have to worry about is that Winston, really, and he doesn't. I mean, I've seen him jump a few times on the bridge.
I would have probably dropped B when they pushed in, just because your Reinhardt got fragged.
Did he have it?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, he did.
So I think it's around this point they push in hard. You're down 1 already. Now you're even. Your Reinhardt's low right here, as well as you saw someone's low over here. You see whoever this is gets low. Watch, bang! You saw it for like a split second. Reaper.
Yeah,
you just
so
saw him. He
that's
went
the
low.
unfortunate thing about having to use beat is beat is an ult that will take you forever to charge, and then you're gonna end up having to expend it sometimes on teammates who are just killing themselves, and that's unfortunate, but that's just how it is. Those were some great shots on the brig.
Oh, almost a triple dink.
Yeah, you're nailing these shots on brig. I can't even do that.
Also, when that Winston does that, if you recognize that, you can boop him. So like it bounces him back up in the air. Like when he's coming down like this, and you're underneath him, you can boop upwards, and it throws off his trajectory.
Yeah, that'll A, throw off his trajectory, and B, give your teammates more time to shoot at him while he's in the air. Because when Winston lands on the ground, I think he does, what, 30 to 50 damage?
45.
Yeah, so you can boop him away from your teammates and save your teammates a free 45 damage. Okay, that was scary.
Close.
Yeah.
Oof. Your Reinhardt's playing super aggressive.
I don't know. You should try to, like Jeff said with Moira, try to learn the distance that boop works at. And also you can't boop people through shields, in case you didn't know.
But if there is a Reinhardt, if you step through his shield and boop him, it works.
So
But that's dangerous.
this is a good. Hang on, can we rewind like a couple seconds?
Sure.
Like when the Torb was out in that archway. So this is a good example of when you should use speed instead of healing. Right in a couple seconds, right here, your Torb is going to be right in front of you, critical health. And I know it sounds insane, but the best thing you can do is throw on speed instead of healing that critical health Torb to get that Torb into cover. So that, like right here, right? So he's one good headshot from that McCree is going to kill him. He could get. There's a million different ways this Torb could die right now. Instead of having heals on, you could throw speed on, and then he could get to cover faster, and then you have amp available, so you can just swap back to heals and then amp. And that's one of the cool things about Lucio, is like he's not just a healer; he's a genuine support.
Oh, nice wall ride to get back to your team. Not bad.
Yeah. It is driving me insane how constantly low on health he is.
Who?
He's never above 100 health.
The Ryan?
No, our Lucio.
Oh, yeah.
It's not really his fault, because it's like he's solo healing with Lucio. There's only so much he can do, but...
Torb's full health, asking for healing.
It's just scaring the hell out of me because they have a Hanzo and a McCree, and it's like if I was ever sub 100 health in a PC game with a Hanzo and McCree on the enemy team, I'd be done. So like that's another example of wall riding being useful.
I don't know if
is
I
you need to
approve
get out of
this.
Yeah, you need to run.
Oh,
But he has a stun.
No, this is so bad. Oh no, don't do this. You're dead. That's if you could teach a class with that clip on how to feed 101.
So this is a scenario where you fall down off the high ground, and you're like, hey, both of the enemy team's DPS, one of which has a stun and the other one has a machine gun that can snipe people,
Oh, that hurts.
are right in front of me. And you need to look at that and be like, all right, I need to back up and walk away from this and not take this fight. You might have been able to save your teammates. I think, yeah, you had beat. You could have saved that team fight if you had dropped beat. There were like 3 people critical health. You could have dropped beat. Both of their DPS were stuck inside that room. You could have zoned them out real easy with a nice boot. It would have been easy win on that team fight. But instead, you went in for the fight and ended up dying, and you died with beat. So just unfortunate. But like I said, Overwatch is a game about making the least number of mistakes. So what I recommend doing, and one of the ways that I improved so much with Lucio is I'd record my gameplay and then watch it back later. So I don't encourage doing this in school, but what I used to do, because I hated physics so much, is I would record my gameplay, and then I had like an hour and a half long physics class where I would just watch an hour and a half of my gameplay and think every time I died, did I do something wrong? Could I have changed what I did to have not died? Or should I not have been in this situation in the first place? And I kind of broke down everything. And even like, if you do it, you'll even see yourself like amping it sometimes and be like, why did I amp there? Like we had one person who was, missing a little bit of health, and I amped. And the thing about amp is it's a 12-second cooldown, so you learn a lot from watching your own gameplay. And of course, that's kind of why we're here, because you wanted some advice. So I definitely recommend watching back your own gameplay, especially as a Lucio player, because you'll learn so much about what you could do to improve.
So 3 biggest things I would say to take away from this video. 1, don't swap constantly, because you need to understand that ults are super important in Overwatch, and that getting your ult off is more important than switching to a counter. 2, I think I would go with yours, Ben, the wall riding. We're learning how to wall ride. Would you say that's probably number 2?
I would argue.
Learning how to wall ride and learning how to maneuver and how to get into your team faster and whatnot. And what would you say is number 3?
Number 3 would be to turn off Toggle Guardian Angel.
I would also agree with that. I would agree with that.
But no, I mean, number 3, I'm not saying in any way, shape, or form that you threw this, because it really wasn't your fault. This was just a circumstance of bad team comp. But you could have contributed more by not playing Lucio at the end, because your team really didn't need a Lucio. You needed a main healer, or at least a Brigida. Like, as soon as you lost that Roadhog, you needed to play a main healer. There was just no questioning it at that point. You can't sustain a Reinhardt as Lucio by yourself, unless your Reinhardt knows how to be the gaudiest god of a Reinhardt.
Mm-hmm.
So just try to think about what all the different supports do and where they shine and when you should play what. Like, you had Roadhog for sustain, so you didn't need to worry too much about healing because he could heal himself, and then D.Va has Defense Matrix, so she can keep herself alive. At the same time, you have a Hanzo who's great for getting picks, so Mercy was a good choice because you can damage buff the Hanzo. If he gets picked or if the Torb gets picked, you can get the res off, and at the same time, you can keep the D.Va and the Hog up. Moira isn't a bad choice either if you're playing a Brawly team comp, like where you had the Reaper, Reinhardt, D.Va, all those characters. Those are all close quarters Brawly characters that are going to want to be in the fight and like as close as possible. That's when Moira is useful, because you can contribute to the fight with damage orbs, or you can just pocket the hell out of them, keeping them up with the healing orbs. I'm just going to assume that Ana is considered a throw on console, because it was
when we played.
If you really want to talk about Ana's probably the best healer right now. But she's really mechanical and really difficult to play. Ana's pretty versatile unless the enemy team's running dive and you don't have any form of peel. Like, if your teammates aren't helping you, don't bother running Ana. And then Zen, I'm extremely against Zen, not because he's a bad hero, I just don't like him. But Zen is a very good off healer in a sense that like if you're running snipers or Pharah, Zen can be great for keeping them alive because he can heal from a distance. But and on top of that, he can provide a lot of damage to your team when you're running a lot of damage. So Zen, Brig, or Mercy would have been good for the original comp you were running, where you had 3 DPS and then 2 off tanks. Or Moira, Mercy, Ana would have been good for the later comp of having Reinhardt, Reaper, and whatnot. And of course, the thing about Lucio too is he works in almost every comp, just not by himself. So I would recommend trying to analyze the enemy team's comp more and thinking to yourself, what can I run in this situation to better my team? Because when we had the right characters, we switched off them, and when we had the wrong characters, we stayed on them too long.
Well said, I think. I think that's just about going to do it, though. That was actually a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. But,
yeah.
Again, he's over at Waycoolway. And also, you have a YouTube, too, The Waycoolway.
Yep, my YouTube is The Waycoolway. If you're ever looking for some Lucio tips, tricks, or just want to see some general Grandmaster Lucio gameplay, tune in. I haven't played as much lately. I've been streaming scrims and stuff like that more than YouTube. I mean, more than making YouTube videos or playing comp. But I'll probably be my scrim team's ending soon, so I'll be playing comp again relatively soon.
Alright. Well, for everyone this is for, thanks for coming out today. We're gonna cut it here, and hopefully I'll have this up soon. So, thanks for coming out, guys.